the rule of staying in business is that when the chips are down, you do not deduct the PAYE from your employees and then hold on to it and not pay it over.
The African National Congress is running out of money. How did it get into this awkward financial position? Well, joining me to discuss is Sara Gon of the online newspaper, The Daily Friend. Sara is also a former Labour lawyer. Sara, welcome to the CRA channel. How did the ANC find itself in this awkward position?
It's quite an irony because I think it's the very fact that it had to be seen to take on corruption that has reduced its funding, because much of the ANC's funding comes through cadre deployment and the obtaining of contracts in various circumstances. And the agreements usually are that a certain amount of the money received in those instances goes to build up the ANC's coffers. But I think in light of 3 years of exposure in the media from Zondo of some really extraordinary revelations covering a wide range of people do not want to put their financial contributions above the parapet. And I think that's essentially why it's very dramatically run out of money.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
Deputy Secretary General of the party, Jesse Duarte, was quoted as saying that not facing a financial crisis is just merely a cash flow problem. But there are other issues within the party. They're looking to downsize their labor force, but are going to struggle to do so given the legal obstacles. In many ways, I would say that the ANC is a victim of its own policies in this regard. What are your thoughts on the labor issues that it's facing?
Well, it's quite a funny situation because to try and downsize the public service in the government is very difficult, as we know. The political imperatives are huge. In this case, it's the employees of the ruling party, and theoretically, it should be governed by the same law that any private organization in South Africa is governed by. And that is, if you need to downsize, cut costs, or because retrenchment is a consideration, and the law provides for it. It provides the processes that have to be followed. You have to have good reasons. You have to have tried other things, etc. But at the end of the day, if you need to retrench people, you need to retrench. And it seems that things might be bad enough financially with the ANC because the newspaper reports I've read have talked about the ANC having to retrench in exactly the way they would talk about, I don't know, Coca-Cola having to retrench. It's not like the public service. It's being treated like an ordinary South African entity. And who knows, the ANC may be able to do it, but I think it's likely to get some blowback because their governmental position as the ruling party is different. But the procedures are standard. They are standard industrial relations processes.
And could this be a ruse to get rid of party officials who may have been associated with the Zuma regime?
I don't think so. I don't think. I suspect it's literally purely business and the problems related to finance. And imagine the ANC probably has a staff complement that's quite a bit bigger than it needs to be anyway. So there would be grounds for restructuring. But because of the rules of how retrenchments are governed by the Labour Relations Act, it's very difficult to sort of maneuver people out that you don't like because their objective criteria, such as length of service, your qualifications, the quality of the work, of the way in which you work, those are all issues that have to be taken into account. You can't theoretically look at the animus you may have towards an employee.
All right, Sara, so there are also other governance concerns such as tax liabilities. According to reports, there have been instances where the party was deducting PAYE from salaried officials but not paying that over to SARS. Could you elaborate on that?
That is such a common problem. I mean, one of the rules, and it's difficult to follow because when you're in desperate straits, you kind of hang on to the money you've got. But the rule of staying in business is that when the chips are down, you do not deduct the PAYE from your employees and then hold on to it and not pay it over. Two reasons. One is you'd never stuff around with the taxman. And secondly, that if you do pay over late, the penalties become high quite quickly. And I think that The ANC's got into that situation to the extent that the receiver of revenue has actually obtained a garnishee order against the Independent Electoral Commission, who pays which pays money over two political parties periodically in terms of their funding rules. Now, they've got an attachment, I think, of late in the region of 17 million rand. Now, that means that the money doesn't go through the ANC at all. It goes straight from the IEC to the taxman. And I think it was done by agreement, but you really are in very, very bad difficulty if you're relying on deductions that have to go to the taxman to fund your cash flow. And as this happens, unless they can get their cash flow back, as we know, the one thing that ultimately sends organizations to the wall is cash flow. And the irony of it here is that there are very many small companies that have gone to the wall because the ANC, who are clients or customers of these companies, failed to pay what they owed, and eventually the companies had to go under. So there's a huge irony in that.
Well, thanks very much, Sara Gon, for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's hand over to you, our audience. What do you think are the problems with the ANC? Why is it in such administrative disarray? And before we go, a quick favor, please, if you enjoy this analysis, if you value the work that we do, please click on the link below for our 30-day free trial. We have a number of other products and services that are available to our clients, and we'd love to get your support. And until next time, take care.